Hey, mahal everyone. Welcome back again to the Broadway Sane YouTube channel. I am your host 40, and we are back with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, in focus again with the global version of Opera Omnia. In today's video, I have an interesting video for you guys called The Impact of Character Poll 2. Now, as you know, Square Enix again released another poll for giving us players that play the global version of the game a chance to vote for the next character event to come out. And the characters featured on this are Cid from Final Fantasy VII, Rydia from Final Fantasy IV, and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Now, before I go ahead and move on with the video, first and foremost, I want to give a huge and amazing shout out to a friend of mine and a fellow content creator, fellow subredditor by the name of Mino Spelgud. He is absolutely amazing. If you guys don't know who he is, on the subreddit for DFFOO, he creates amazing character evaluations before a character is about to be released. He's extremely knowledgeable about the game, and he took his time out of the day to help me create these slides and give information in regards to how each of these characters will impact us global players depending on who wins. So huge shout outs again, and thank you to Mino Spelgud. I wish you had a YouTube channel, bro, because I would totally link it, but I know that you're sticking to just subreddit and Discord for now. But thank you again for your help. Be sure to check him out on Reddit. He is an amazing Redditor. But anyways, let's go ahead and move forward with the impact of character poll 2. So we're going to give you an overview. So again, Square Enix has done it again for the community of Dissidia Opera Omnia, giving us fans the chance to vote for our next character to appear early in the global version of the game. So again, this announcement was actually made at E3 back in June, where someone asked the producer, hey, are you guys gonna give us a chance to vote for our characters? And they actually implemented it, which is great. So with this excitement come a lot of questions as to what will be next and how this will impact certain features that come in the future, such as, for example, level 60 awakenings, because we know that's about to come out for global, free 15 CP weapons, which I will get to that as we move forward with the video, and finally how these characters will perform, seeing as one of them will be released earlier than they were originally scheduled compared to the Japanese version of the game. So all three of these characters, if one of them wins, they're going to be coming out earlier than they did back when Japan got them in the Japanese version of Dissidia Opera Omnia. And again, the intent and purpose of this video is to show how each character will impact the global version of the game based on the character itself, the weapon summon banner they bring, and where they were in the JP timeline. So let's go ahead and continue to move forward. So, if Cid wins the poll, what does Cid bring to us? So, Cid himself is a hard-hitting range DPS with attack and brave self-buffs similar to Kain. So Cid is very similar to Kain. There's a few differences. So both of his abilities have the wind element. So he's always going to be having the wind element on his abilities. When you use either one of his abilities, it's going to be changing his brave attack based on which one you use. Both of his abilities carry a self buff that increases his attack and max brave, which is great because, as we know, attack and max brave are two of the most important stats currently in Dissidia Opera Omnia. His second ability, when you use it, changes his brave attack into an ability that allows him to self-sustain himself. So it allows him to heal up to 15% of his max HP. And one of the differences that he has that he doesn't have from Kain is that Kain has an ability where he straight on attacks the enemy's HP, whereas Cid does not have that. However, Cid does have a brave plus HP attack. So Cid is going to be very similar to Kain with the wind element and with a little bit of self-sustaining to keep himself alive. If he does win, Cid will have more time to shine. And the reason why I say this is because, again, all three of these characters, if one of them wins, they're going to be coming out earlier than they did in JP. And because level 60 is just around the corner, coming out early means, hey, this character is going to have more usage just for a little bit more time than they did back in JP, especially for those of you who are fans of Cid. So then that way you guys actually get to enjoy him a little bit more before he gets benched. Alongside, with some of the other characters before he gets his level 60 awakening. And then his banner brings along Zell's 35 CP and Rem's 35 CP. And I think this banner is very interesting, especially for Zell and Rem fans. So Zell's is going to be increasing the potency and the ability usage for his second ability. I think the only thing that I don't really like about that is that after he uses the upgraded version of the ability, he resets himself and loses that unique buff that he provides to himself. So he constantly needs to be using his abilities. Rem, however, However, it will be interesting because she is more of a utility support character, and her swap turns can really come in handy. So I feel like if this banner comes out, it's going to be great because it's going to be bringing along a lot of different variety for us, rather than just, oh, here's another amazing DPS, or here's another support that provides Brave and all these buffs. Rem is unique because she has that swap turn. So that is going to be the banner that comes out if Sid wins the poll. Now let's go to my girl Rydia. As you guys know, I've said it on stream before, Rydia is my second waifu next to Shantoto. Final Fantasy IV is my absolute favorite, so I have a bit of a bias towards Rydia, but we're gonna try to keep that bias aside because, you know, I want to bring you guys information that helps everybody out here. So Rydia herself offers magical DPS, both single target and AoE, similar to Garnet. So what I mean by that is her first ability is a one-hit Brave plus HP magical attack. The difference with that is that Garnet has elements attached to hers, whereas Rydia's, her Brave plus HP ability does not. It is just a straight up non-elemental magic Brave attack, and also it self-buffs her magical attack, so that way she does more magical attack damage. And she has an AoE ability called Summon Leviathan. This is going to be a one-hit water-based water elemental AoE attack. What this also does is it has a little bit of support because it gives the party a 3-turn small max Brave up. And then if you have her 35 CP weapon, she does something called Water Enchantment, where everybody's attacks are water-based. So this works well. She actually works well in conjunction with Garnet, but you can see why I say she's similar to Garnet. The only difference is that Rydia doesn't have the self buffs that Garnet has, and also Rydia doesn't have that function where, like, if she uses an ability, she loses a unique self buff and gains another self buff. So if she wins out of the three, I feel like Rydia will benefit the most. And the reason why I say Rydia will benefit the most if she wins the poll is because if you look at the JP timeline of Dissidia Opera Omnia, Rydia was the very last character event that Japanese Dissidia Opera Omnia received at level 50. After Rydia, every single character event that was released was at level 60, and even to this day, Rydia has still not received her level 60 awakening. So if she comes out earlier, and if she wins this poll by some miracle, because we know who's also on this poll, she's gonna have the most time to shine. So it's gonna benefit her, especially for us Rydia fans. So that is the benefit of getting Rydia to win this poll. So Rydia's banner is going to bring along 35 CP for both Yang and Shadow. So we have two DPS units. Yang's 35 CP will make him amazing because it gives him a boost to his attack and max Brave buff. It also allows him more usage on his focus, which, as we know, when he uses focus, it makes his other ability kick better. So he's going to be great for that. And then Shadow, I'm a huge fan of Shadow, so I have a little bit of bias. Again, this banner is probably my favorite, only also because it's featuring Shadow, but Shadow is going to be getting finally a buff to his Wild Throw. He's going to be getting a max usage increase. It's going to be increasing the damage and further lowering the action delay. He's going to get a max Brave up for 10 turns, and Shadow's max Brave isn't the greatest, so it's great that he gets that. And then he finally gets an upgrade to his Brave attack, changing it to Throw, which is amazing. So it's gonna make him solidify himself as that high frequency damage dealer because he's so fast. He does Brave damage and he does HP damage. So that's what we're gonna be getting. I guess the only downside to this banner, honestly, is that both of the characters featured alongside Rydia are DPS, and we have so many DPS units right now in global. So it's, as far as variety wise, it's one of those where it's kind of like, more DPS. Do I really need it with what we have? But if you like these characters, and if Rydia wins, then that's the benefit of getting Rydia early. And finally, the last character to be featured, which we all know, the moment we saw this poll and Sephiroth was on there, I was like, Sephiroth's gonna win, because Sephiroth just has such a huge fan base. But anyway, Sephiroth specializes in heavy single target DPS with a unique buff. So he has two abilities, both of them hit single target, so he's going to be a single target DPS monster. His first ability hits like 10 times, which is amazing. He has 10 Brave attacks on it, so he's hitting multiple times, so he has a very high chance to score a Brave break. And then his second ability is a Brave plus HP attack that hits like 7 times, which is amazing. And this is the one that provides him that unique buff called Genova, which is proper for Sephiroth. So that it is a unique buff that increases his speed, and at the same time, depending on how much you have it stacked, so it has a stack mechanic, will be lowering every enemy's speed. So then that way it allows your party to be able to take their turn turns more frequently than the enemy, so then that way the enemy is not always continuously damaging you, from an equal amount or from a, higher perspective amount. So if Sephiroth wins the poll, which he likely will, his release marks the free 15 CP era. And what I mean by this is that when Sephiroth came out in Japan, it marked the era of when you clear a character event for the first time, you're awarded a copy of their 15 CP, which is huge, because what it does is, especially for free-to-play players that don't pull often on banners, it at least will give you some usage for this character, because you at least have a weapon that they can use that synergizes with them. So if he wins, there is a very high chance that we're going to get this, and we're going to be hopefully getting it moving forward with the other characters. As far as level 60 Awakening goes, he is another character that came out when the first batch of level 60 Awakening is released, so he will somewhat benefit from an early release if he wins. However, amongst the three, he came out the earliest in JP versus Sid and Rydia, so he'll still see some usage, especially if he comes out early, but he won't benefit from it as much as Sid and Rydia if Sid and Rydia happen to win. And then for his banner, he brings alongside his 35 CP Vincent and Aiko in his banner. Now, I understand that this banner has 2 repeats, but I'm going to be honest, and without being biased, because you guys know I like Rydia and all that, this banner hands down is probably the best one out of the 3, and the reason being is because Vincent is an amazing debuffer. First of all, he imperils fire and lightning, which are 2 very common elements, and then we already know how good Aiko is. Aiko is one of the best supports right now in the game for global. Sephiroth, honestly, is just icing on the cake in this banner. He is the icing on the cake, but 35 CP Vincent and Aiko are the prizes. And for newer players that are looking to get into this game, and if we all know Sephiroth's gonna win this poll, but if they get into the game and Sephiroth comes out, this banner is very good for newer players or free-to-play players that missed out on the other 2 35 CP, because both of these characters have amazing kits that really help you clear some of the harder content that we have in global. So, in conclusion, again, as I mentioned earlier, as far as weapon banner values go, I rank them this way. Sephiroth banner being at 1 because of the value that it provides for newer players and the characters that are featured on it. Sid banner, I'm actually going to say, is at number 2, and the only reason why I say that is because Rem is there, and Rem adds a variety, whereas we're not just getting, oh yay, more DPS characters, And then sad to say, but as biased as I am towards Rydia, I'm going to rank hers at 3 out of these 3, only because we're getting 3 DPS units. For me, if I'm looking at this from either a veteran player or a new player, it doesn't really add much value for me, especially while those other characters featured on there are cool, they're not game-breaking like some of the other characters that we already have. So all 3 characters given to us in this poll were characters that came out in Japan when level 60 Awakenings were already introduced. So again, as we said earlier, having them early will benefit them to at least shine longer than they did in Japan, with Rydia benefiting the most because she was the last character released before level 60 character events were released. And again, sadly, none of these characters are really game-breaking, but regardless, as they are fan favorites, they're still going to be fun to use, especially for newer players. And lastly, I do want to say huge thanks again to Square Enix for giving fans the opportunity to vote for our fan favorites. It is amazing that they are doing this and that they are engaging with the community. So thank you again, Square Enix, from the bottom of our hearts. We love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing to keep us fans of your Final Fantasy games and all the other games you stay successful and consistent. So again, before I end this video, I do want to say again, huge shout outs and thank you to Mino Spelgud. Be sure to check him out on the subreddit. Send him a nice PM on Discord if you happen to be friends with him on Discord. He's very knowledgeable. He's an amazing guy, and I really appreciate all the help that he gives me for the recent videos that I've been doing. Alright guys, this is 40 the Broadway saying, stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone. Oh, psych. Just kidding, guys. This video ain't done yet. So how could I forget? I wanted to give you guys a showcase of the 3 characters on the character poll, so then that way you guys have a visual of what these characters can do. Now, I realized that my Sephiroth is at level 60, so what I went ahead and did is I removed his passives that he gets at 55 and 60, so then that way you guys kind of get to see an accurate depiction of what he can actually do. I do see that my Rydia here has 56 CP being used, so let me actually put some passives on her so she at least can perform. Alright, so again, this is just going to be a showcase for what they do, so you guys are aware of what these characters bring, depending on who wins in Global. So, this is going to be Sid, so this is going to be his ability 1. It is a win-based, one-hit ranged brave attack. This is going to be Rydia's right here. So her first ability is her brave plus HP attack. So again, very similar to Garnet. So it is Flare, and what it does is it gives her that 5-turn magical attack up increase. But however, for it to be 5 turns, you do need her 15 CP weapon, which luckily I do have that. And then this is going to be a Sephiroth's ability right here, his Brave Shaving ability. So we're very familiar with that. His Octo Slash, very, very powerful, especially for Brave Shaving. And then this is going to be Rydia Summon Leviathan. So I don't have the passive for it, but we at least get to see it. So as you can see right there, that was it. It also has a little action delay. And then this is going to be Cid's other ability, his one-hit Brave plus HP ranged wind attack based ability. So this is the one that actually changes his Brave attack into that self-sustaining ability. So we're actually going to get to see that. And as you can see right there, Cid has his unique buffs active now because of that, because we use his 2 abilities. So we're actually going to go ahead and use Rydia's AoE ability again to score multiple Braves. Let's go ahead and we just want to see Cid's ability right here, his Brave attack. Okay, and then right over here, we're going to use Sephiroth's Brave plus HP attack. It's a 7-hit Brave plus HP attack, which does, which actually gives him that Genova unique buff. Right, so let's use his ability 1 again. Or actually, we're going to use his HP attack. Okay, so my mistake. So it looks like Cid's HP attack is what changes into that HP drain. So I do apologize about that, but that is the ability right there. And then we're going to go ahead and use Rydia's Flare. So these are the characters that are currently being voted on in the poll. So let me know what you guys think based on this gameplay, which one you like. I mean, we all know Sephiroth is like landsliding the victory right now, but it'd be nice to see some variety too, you know. I know some of you folks are going to be wondering, Broadway Saiyan, why do you want Rydia to win? Well, I want Rydia to win because 1, she is my number 2 waifu, and 2, Final Fantasy IV is actually one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasies. So, I mean, you can understand why I have a bit of a bias towards it. And no, we're not going to use the EX. I want to keep this consistent as far as what we're going to get in global here. But yeah, that is going to be the gameplay showcase for these characters that are on the poll. Again, guys, thank you for watching the video. Thank you to Mino Spelgud. You're amazing, bro. I always appreciate your help. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to consider giving it a subscribe to the channel if you like the content you see. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and also turn on that notification bell. That way, when I post a new video, you guys are notified. Once again, I am 40 the Broadway Saiyan. Stay tuned for the next video. Have a blessed, great rest of the day, and mahal, everyone.